Welcome to the 17th show of Touring Texas Songwriters with our host, the long, tall Texan, Mr. Bruno Michel. Today's show features the feisty Texas songwriter, Libby Koch, and is brought to you by the Barrel Brewing Company and the citizens of historic Salado, Texas. Libby Koch was recorded live in front of a studio audience for broadcast on Country Radio Switzerland. Sit back, relax, and listen to the soulful sounds of Libby Koch.
And we're rolling. Okay. Hey, good to see you guys. Finally, some people showed up, which is great because you would miss something if you didn't. And if you have any legal real estate issues, please stay put after the show. This lady can help you. Not a problem at all. But she's also a singer-songwriter, and that's why she's here initially. So you worked for a large law firm back in Houston.
I did,
before
yeah.
you decided to go full-time music, kind of forced into. We go to that. And her first EP, I think, came 2008 or 9. And then the last studio album was 2016, and your live album just came out.
Yes, sir.
So plenty of music out there. If you don't know her, you will. And we'll start with a song.
All
Welcome,
right.
Libby Koch.
Thanks so much. All right, this is the first track off my new live album, which is actually a full band re-recording of my first album called Redemption. So this one's called Houston. This old house is empty. There's not much left for me to do. I've packed up my whole life. Now I'm starting out anew. I'm on a highway back to Houston. I bid farewell to Tennessee. I'd like love to see you. I'd like to say goodbye. I'd tell you I wish you the best things in this life. I'm on a highway back to Houston. I bid farewell to Tennessee. Goodbye neon lights and long rowdy nights. Goodbye my love to you and me. You might think I'm talking crazy. I guess you brought it out in me. I just have to say I miss you, at least the way that you used to be. Talking in circles, 'cause I've moved on all the same. This sad resolution of the age-old lover's game. I'm on that highway back to Houston. I bid farewell to Tennessee. Goodbye neon lights and long rowdy nights. Goodbye my love to you and me. Goodbye neon lights and long rowdy nights. Goodbye my love to you and me. Oh, thank y'all. Thank you.
So your parents listened to all kind of different styles of music.
Yes, they
when
did.
Did you develop your own style? Can you remember that?
I think for me, I feel like in high school, I was always searching for this particular sound that I couldn't quite find in the stacks of CDs at my local Sam Goody. And, you know, my mom was a big kind of Motown soul Stax, Muscle Shoals fan, and my dad loved old classic country. And I think just growing up in Texas, you learn old Willie Nelson songs and George Strait songs, like you learn the ABCs. So those were my influences, but I really found the sound that I had been seeking when I moved to Nashville for law school. I guess that was in 2002. And in that first semester going to school there, I discovered Lucinda Williams, Steve Earle, Uncle Tupelo, and after that, Sun Volted, Wilco, and Ryan Adams, and Whiskey Town, and Gillian Welch, and just all those artists. They called it alt country then. You know, they're always looking for a name to call it. These days, they call it Americana, I guess. But that's when I really discovered it. And I'd been writing songs all that time, but that was such a huge creative period in my life, being in Nashville and being around all those artists playing, you know, in smaller clubs around town, and getting to play some myself. And I really found myself musically, I think, there.
Right. Okay. Now, your dad bought you the first guitar when you were 12, I
He
think.
did. You did your homework, Bruno.
You also took piano lessons.
I did.
But then I heard from some other guys that they switched to guitar because it's hard to carry around the piano all the time.
I just wasn't very good at piano.
Are there any other instruments you would wish you had mastered, or?
You know, I play a lot of instruments okay. Like, pretty much anything with strings that you don't have to put up like a violin, I could find my way around. You know, I play mandolin and banjo okay. I play okay bass, but, you know, hell, I'd really like to master this guitar if I could.
Okay.
Working on it, I guess.
Let's see, and play another one and see how you mastered it
All
there.
right, sure. This is another one off of that live record we just put out. I'm going to get my harmonica out for this one, too. That's it. I'm going home. RPT, hopefully this doesn't mess up your... Okay, good. This one's called Just the Way. That's the wrong key.
That's why we don't allow them.
It's totally the wrong key. Well, I won't play this song. I don't know where I put my harmonica.
And you know we don't cut anything. We just put it out.
It's all live. This is all live. All right, I'm going to play this song without a harmonica. Just imagine beautiful harmonica solos.
Now, you really can't play, can you?
No, I can't play it at all.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That was all an illusion. I can't say I won't settle down. You know that I ain't bound to leave this town. When I kiss your mouth and I hold you close, it's like my world has come unwound. This tender heart just broke without a sound. Yeah, that's just the way I feel about you now. Don't suppose I could tell you why or how. If I told you that I want you, do you think we'd work it out? 'Cause that's just the way I feel about you now. At the end of this warm summer's night, long to see you wake in the morning light. And I have to say, I'm the girl who doesn't really think that's right. But at this point I just don't have the will to fight. 'Cause it's just the way I feel about you now. Don't suppose I could tell you why or how. But if I told you that I need you, do you think we'd work it out? 'Cause that's just the way I feel about you now. Now there's a million things I ought to say. Know that I can't say a word when you look at me that way. And I wish to hell that I could figure out a way to stay here. Once I think we'll never be apart, I have a hard time finishing what I start. When our worlds collide, I tend to find that I really hate that part. I guess I ain't so good with the matters of the heart. But that's just the way I feel about you now. Don't suppose I could tell you why or how. If I told you that I love you, I just don't think we'd work it out. That's just the way I feel about you. Yeah, I'm not sure that I wanna live without you, but it's just the way that I've been feeling about you now. Oh, thank you. How about those harmonica solos?
Pretty cool.
Right? Best ever.
Who would guess that singing in church was your first passion? And then you also started writing songs with a friend, actually.
Yes.
Can you still remember the first song you wrote on your own?
On my own. Most songwriters do start writing their first songs on their own, but I kind of uniquely started writing most of my songs as a co-writer because a buddy of mine, Taylor Davis, who's actually a music director and composer out in Fort Worth, he and I wrote probably the first dozen songs that I ever did together, so I don't know that I can remember the first song that I wrote by myself, but I do have a big folder full of like angsty teenage songs, and so I'm sure I could dig through it.
That would actually make a good thing for a next studio album,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. I dig for new material in there.
Get all the stories out and then just leave those away that you want to get out in the public.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Okay. Now, you went to law school and had a career like, pretty promising, I would say, and then kind of economically was forced to quit your job. And some people say you got fired, some people say you want to leave. Doesn't really matter, but you get a good bunch of money when you left.
All part of the story.
Exactly. And that actually made the decision a little easier to go into full-time music. Now, have you ever regretted that move? Because what I think is money in legal would be probably a little bit better than money as the songwriter traveling around, right?
Just a little bit better.
Writing these $500 an hour bills and things.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I certainly traded in financial stability for travel, adventure, and but I really feel like it was something I was called and led to do, and I see kind of how it all, I think now in hindsight, I see how it all was supposed to happen. I mean, I had a mentor who was an attorney who said, well, when the economic downturn kind of resulted in a lot of young attorneys losing their jobs, and she said, why don't you, she said, if you get laid off, why don't you take a year off and do music? And I was like, what? I can't do that. And then I started thinking about it, and I said, well, why not? Life's short. So I gave it a shot, and things just took off once I started devoting myself to it wholeheartedly, and there was just no turning back. To me, there's no substitute for putting yourself wholeheartedly into the thing you love, and at the end of the day, money is just paper that can get you some things, and I mean, you got to eat and everything, but I'm happy to sing for my supper anytime.
Okay, good. In the beginning, you had stage fright, but that pretty much settled. So how did you overcome that?
I think repetition and practice. I used to be really shy about my songs exposing my true feelings and my private emotions, and that took some getting over. But I think one of the best things about performing songs that you wrote is connecting with other people and finding that shared human experience. And so I think when I started to receive some of that feedback that, hey, that song really connected with me because of what I'm going through, and or helped me get through this issue that I've been having, that's when I started to see, all right, this is good. I can overcome my shyness and be vulnerable, and really connect with people and hopefully make a difference, even if it's just one person by one person,
And it seems to work.
Thank you.
All right, let's try another one,
Alrighty.
which hopefully connects with some of you guys.
Well, shoot, now I set myself up to to do something good.
You can do something bad. It
Oh,
still
good.
connects.
Perfect. I got plenty of bad songs.
It still connects.
Let's see. I'm going to do one from the Just Move On record. But first, I'm going to take a sip of this delicious Barrow Brewing Company Tipsy Vicar Stout. It's refreshing.
And to the brewery, you can send the 6-packs her way.
Absolutely. Available for sponsorships. Yeah, this one's called Lady Luck. Well, you found your pawn when the game was new. You paid and you're overdue. We all pay, but you never do. Tell me what you want, 'cause I see it clear. You've been talking, but I never hear. All this talking, but you're never here. Seems your lady luck has gone. One false step, boy, she moved on. In the quiet night, all alone at last, stolen moments become our past. Take this moment before it's past. Now the game ain't right, but the rules are true. Couldn't change it if we wanted to. You can't change it that I want you to. It seems your lady luck has gone. One false step, boy, she moved on. Thin facades with fickle friends. break the ice with bitter ends. Ooh, we played to win. Ooh, just say when, baby, just say when. Yes, your lady luck has gone. One false step, boy, she moved on. Ooh, we played to win. Just say when, baby, just say when. Thank you.
So these days you work in Texas, but you already mentioned you also were in Nashville for professional reasons on the lawyer side,
Yes.
obviously, but obviously you came in touch with music there too. And you had a friend or a producer in Nashville way back then. Where do you see the difference between the kind of Texas side and the mainstream Nashville thing these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the traditional Nashville music business side of thing is more actually it's a business, you know, so it's concerned about a profit, and songs need to turn profits. And I had a meeting with a song plugger in Nashville, and he referred to what they do as corporate country without any sense of irony or humor at all. It was literally that's what he considered what they did, and I was kind of horrified, but you know, he said that he wasn't making a joke, you know, and I do think that a lot of the songs that I do and that a lot of my peers do are, you know, commercially viable and, you know, maybe in a different time could have been capital H hits. But I think what's really exciting about the songwriting community, and it's here in Texas, here in Texas, it's a part of the culture. Songwriting is part of our storytelling tradition as Texans. But there are pockets all over the world, really, of great songwriters who share the same tradition. And I'll tell you, there's a great one in Nashville, too. It's kind of focused itself in East Nashville, but we got a lot of friends who are great songwriters who are really all about the song and not about the corporate side of it, you know. But it's been cool to become a part of these communities. And I'm lucky, too, that I cut my teeth in Houston, which has a rich songwriting tradition and a rich songwriting community. You know, folks like Brian Kalanick and Tommy Lewis and Matt Harlan and Charlie Harrison. And gosh, there are just so many great songwriters based out of Houston right now. And then I moved out to the Austin area and have become wholeheartedly embraced by this community as well. So, and the common root of all of those communities is it's all about the song.
Mm-hmm. And you actually said it right. I mean, there's all over the world you have these kind of gatherings. You just returned from Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and,
we're in Scotland, but yeah, we went to Ireland.
That's why you're still hanging on the stout thing.
I
here,
love a stout.
Probably. And some cool Irish whiskey. I used to work over there for a while, so it's some pretty good stuff. The Irish folk music scene is actually really kind of popular or gaining popularity again. Mm-hmm. Is there any influences you could imagine to bring into this type of music? Because if you go back like 100 years or whatever, you had all these people bringing in the culture into today's Texas music or into the Texas music back then. How about bringing some of those influences bringing in here?
Absolutely. I've really been, it strikes me how the Celtic cultures in particular seem to really love our style of Texas songwriting. And I think in large part because it does mirror that Celtic storytelling tradition. And you see that in Ireland and Scotland and parts of England too. But, there are definitely traditional melodies that exist in songs over there that you'll find in hit country songs over here, and classic country and folk songs. And I think we've become friends with a lot of artists over there, and they've become friends with us. We're collaborating, and it's interesting to see the storytelling cultural tradition kind of cross-pollinate each other. So that's been fun, and I definitely every time I'm over there, I want to write something with a little more of a jig to it, Yep.
That would actually be cool.
Yeah, right?
It'd probably work out pretty good.
Totally.
We could always talk toAlt Wilkins. He was over there quite a bit, and he knows a lot of people over there. So
he sure does.
It would make sense to bring some of these guys over here, have the culture mix. So
well, when we've talked about it, we've met some great artists over there. Unfortunately, it's a little trickier to get European artists over here, just from a documentation standpoint, than it is for us to go over. But hopefully that'll get better.
Will be fun.
Yeah.
Irish Austin music night with a lot of stout or whatever.
Hey, I'll be there.
All right, let's play another one.
All right, great. Let's see. I think I'll do another one off the Redemption album. I don't know. I don't think this one's very jiggy, but they did like it over there. Another place that I've been to the past couple of years where I was just so pleasantly surprised that they were really the audiences were just so receptive to this sort of music, was in Norway. But I think it's that a lot of people over there have been over here, specifically Texas, to get advanced degrees and fell in love with the music while they were over in Texas at UT or A&M. Yeah. So that's my theory, my working theory at least. But
you're probably right.
This one's called Ready Now. I know I let you down. You trusted me and I played around. I know that you've been waiting. You've been loving me so long. My heart's fear is now abating. My loneliness is gone. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. It wasn't that long ago. There was nothing you didn't know. How quickly I slipped away. You needed more than I could give. How I'm wanting yours to be my way. 'Cause apart from you, baby, I cannot live. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. Was funny how you kept a hold of me when I would not look your way. It's quite amazing how you set me free. How my heart longs to stay right with you, babe. I wanna stay right here with you. I'm ready now. 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 Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
What would you say is coming more often to you? Is it like the up-tempo stuff or the kind of slow?
It depends, you know, and I think I'm one of those people who kind of tends to write in almost collections. Like everything that's coming out lately is kind of bluesy and rock and roll. So I think the next record is going to be my rock and roll record.
Okay.
So I love, you know, I know it's the age of streaming and what have you, but I still love records. I love albums that have a cohesive feel that you can put on, and when it ends, it starts over again, and you just keep listening over and over. That's my favorite. I love it when they have like lyrical themes. Like I could sit and listen to Chuck Hawthorne's Fire Out of Stone all day long, over and over, and I have. So that's kind of how I've always written, is kind of I like to write in little collections of songs, and sometimes I write something that's totally out of left field, and when that happens, I just, you know, file it away and hope I remember it later when I need it to fill out a collection.
Thing, yeah. Oh yeah, who knows? You probably write something like Tommy by the Who, or a real story that goes on and on and on. And then you actually can write the musical play out of it, and you know.
I got a lot of work to do.
Go on that. That would be great. Talk about rock songs. You got one?
Yeah, I got a one that's going to be on the next record.
Let's wake these guys up here.
Absolutely. Everybody, like don't sleep like church, you know. Speaking of church, I wrote this song with my friend Debbie Bird. She and I were in a band called the Grievous Angels together for a while, and still good friends, still write songs together. And she came to me with the song idea, and she said, "I really dig this song. I think it's about Jesus." And I said, "Cool, lay it on me." And so she plays like the first half of the chorus or however much she had of it, and she finished up. She goes, "What do you think?" I said, "Debbie, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think that song's about drugs."
Which could imply the other topic
I mean,
too.
you know, I think all songs are open to interpretation, so y'all let me know what you think. But this one's called The Medicine Man. I'm looking for the medicine man. Got me looking for the medicine man. Have you seen him walking around? He's got that something that can soothe my soul. Got that something that can soothe my soul. Make that devil quiet down. Don't tell me he can't be found. Don't tell me. I know he's around. I feel him rattling chains. Don't tell me that he ain't in don't need that stuff I'm feeling deep in my veins. Looking for that medicine man. Have you seen him? Been feeling low. Got that something that can throw me a line. Got that something that can throw me a line. I'm consumed by the undertow. Now don't tell me he ain't around. Don't tell me. I know he's in town. I feel him deep in my veins. Don't tell me that he ain't enough. Don't tell me I don't need that stuff. I feel him deep in my veins. I'm looking for the medicine man. You got me looking for that medicine man. Have you seen him? Thank you.
And in case you find him, let her know.
Exactly.
Because, you know, some people see like pink unicorns and then other people see Jesus. So, hey, can happen. Never know.
Whatever works.
Whatever works best. Now, you performed with a lot of well-known artists. Is there still any kind of dream act you would like to share the stage with?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think the end-all, be-all to me, it's probably a tie between Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. Oh. Be Still My Heart. That would be the best. Those are two of my all-time heroes.
Yeah. Like in terms of songwriting, obviously. And
songwriting,
what
performance. Else? I think they both have singular voices, which, gosh, in country music, there's nothing like a singular voice, you know, like that George Jones voice. Nobody sings like George or Patsy Cline, you know. And both Dolly and Emmylou just kind of did it their way, and I've always admired that too. It's kind of, well, I like doing it my way too. As Chuck can attest.
Kind of interesting you say that because, you know, songwriting-wise, I think you're absolutely right. And in terms of having written history, absolutely. On stage, totally different. You know, one's the glamour thing and big-time show, and then the other one's more the songwriter thing.
But I feel like they're both exhibiting truly who they are as humans and as artists too, and I think there's something so compelling about that. I mean, Dolly is all that flash and that glitz, but she's also East Tennessee, and she's and she just lays that all out there, and she says, "This is me," and I love it. I think it's wonderful. I mean, we may be as divided as we can be politically, but I think we can all agree on Dolly Parton.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. But you got to rush up because, you know, people are getting older.
I know, exactly. So I better hurry.
It's probably a good thing because I remember when I talked to Ray Price, I was one of the last guys to interview Ray Price when he still was alive. A couple months later, he passed. He was playing down here in Salado, and we talked about not only the business and the kind of, you know, these days Nashville thing, but a lot of personal stuff. And hadn't I have the chance that time, you know, I would have completely missed it. And something in my life would be missing because if you have met people like that, and on a personal level, that's a totally different experience, and you start seeing things with a little bit different angle, I think. And so go after Dolly.
Right?
Chase her.
I do think a big part of luck is just showing up.
Probably right. Yeah, so you go to Dollywood somewhere and
hey, you never know.
hitch one of the roller coasters and then just claim you got sick.
Exactly.
Then you want to talk to the boss.
Right? That's a good idea.
All right. Well, instead of talking a lot, let's play another song, I guess.
All right. Let's see. How much longer do you have? How many more songs do you think?
Just go on until we're done. I
Keep
got probably
going. I love it.
3 more questions, so we
Okay,
probably
great.
got 2-3 more songs.
All right, cool. All right, I'll do this one. So in honor of Dolly, I'll do one. So this new record I have out, it's a live album. It's a new old album. My first record, Redemption, came out in 2009, so it was celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, and I thought it would be fun to do that record was just me and my guitar, and I was a full-time attorney at the time. I didn't know that I was going to put out any records ever, so I never saw any of this happening, touring the world and having an awesome band and all that stuff. So I thought, it'd be fun to do a full band show where we play Redemption front to back. And it kind of evolved into this live record. And so we went through and figured out I thought I might rewrite some of the songs even. I didn't. I rearranged some of the songs. And this was one of them. And it ended up being more fast-paced and bluegrassy. So this one's called How Long? I have traveled so far, I have waited patiently. I've been looking so long for someone to walk with me. I want you to walk with me. In my darkness, you inclined and heard my cry. Looking back, I know this wasn't just some sick lie. You would never tell me lies. How long will I sing the same old song? How long will I sing this song? Come with me, my darling, lift me up, take me home. Just let go of your heart, you'll never be alone. I won't let you go alone. How long will we sing the same old song? How long will we dance to this song? Set our feet upon a place we can stand. If the road gets hard, we'll walk it hand in hand. I want you to take my hand. As we travel along, well, I know that many more will see. Though it took me so long, it took faith to set me free. You know your love has set me free. How long will we sing the same old song? How long will we sing this song? Thank you.
Now, it is said that when you write, you're having the melody first and then the lyrics come to you. Is that always the case, or is it kind of shifting around a little bit these days?
Almost always for me. If I'm really in a creative zone, I've got little tunes going through my head all the time. So I have to really be receptive to setting aside time to get them down. Or, the phone is great for that. The little voice memos on on my phone, I can capture those down and then put them in my pocket. And when I have some time set aside to really write, I can go back to them. But, then sometimes somebody will say something and it just kind of hits you like a lightning bolt and you think, oh my gosh, that's a great song idea. And again, you got to get it, for me, I've got to get it down on paper or else it's gone with the wind. But I'd say most songwriters, particularly in the folk and country, Americana, Texas storyteller vein, tend to write lyrics first. But I'm the opposite. And as a result, I really like co-writing because sometimes it helps me to get a kick in the butt to start setting words to those melodies.
Or a different angle to a
exactly,
to a thing, yeah.
Exactly. So I get the musical inspiration. So if somebody else is a lyrics first person who might have a notebook full of lyrics that don't have melodies to them, a lot of times that's a good combo.
I bet when you had a melody in mind, then you also have, once you work on it, you got some kind of, that lyric may fit or this. Did you ever have the experience that the song ended up with a completely different lyric set, which was totally weird compared to the initial idea?
Yeah, a lot of times. Well, and that's hard too, because sometimes you'll get your heart set on a particular idea, and Susan Gibson always says the song is the boss.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to say, all right, this song doesn't want to be that thing; it wants to be something else, and you have to let it. And there's always a chance to write that other thing and go back. I think probably the best song I've ever written is a great example of that. I had wanted to write a song about my grandparents that was, I heard that my uncle had all of the letters that my grandfather wrote my grandmother when he was in the Army in World War II. And I thought, how cool would it be to pull out all those letters and read them and then pick actual lines from the letters and, and as I was waiting to get a hold of those letters, this other song came out about them, but it kind of ended up being them through my lens instead of them with a song that I thought was probably going to be him as the first person narrator. But again, the song is the boss, and I'm glad that I let it do that.
That actually sounds like a good song to play. Would you do it?
I sure would. My grandmother, her name was Naomi, but being that they were from deep East Texas, my granddad pronounced it Naoma. So this song's called Naoma. His name was Eugene. He was my mama's daddy. He wore horn-rimmed bifocals. Drove an old caddy. Now truly, there ain't no man finer I've ever known. When I was a kid, I saw him each afternoon in his black leather chair. We'd all watch cartoons until Mama had finished her shift, and then he'd take us back home. On his way out, he would tell my grandmother, I'll just drop off the girls and get right back for supper. I'm coming home, Naoma, in time. Coming home to you. Yes, I'm coming home, Naoma, in time. I'm coming home to you. Met back in grade school in that small Texas town. Her folks left California when their business shut down, and they lived off the land, found love, though the times they were hard. He went off to college. He worked his way through. Senior year, they got married. It was May 42, so 2 days after his graduation, he left home for war. He landed in Normandy, was jailed in Berlin. Each time he wrote her, he'd say this again. I'm coming home, Naomi, in time. Coming home to you. Yes, I'm coming home, Naomi, in time. I'm coming home to you. It's hard to believe he's been gone now 10 years. I still think of him often when I sit in his chair or I catch an old Looney Tunes rerun or need wisdom at all. Naomi's still with us. She just turned 92. She has good days and bad days, like all of us do. But at night, she says she'll sometimes see him standing there in the hall. Now she might just be dreaming, but this much I know, he'll be right there with her when she's ready to go, saying, let's go on home, Naomi, it's time. I'm going home with you. Yes, let's go on home, Naomi, it's time. I'm going home with you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think those are the songs that actually give the whole thing a meaning, you know, when
Yes.
you start writing them and getting. How many of the stories you write are actually somehow related to personal experience, and how much is it that you read something or you kind of, you know, develop something out of, I don't know, not TV news, but...
I think for me, I'm going out of from personal experience more often than not, but I do think that, especially early on, so it's been interesting, kind of revisiting these songs that I released 10 years ago, because those were all very personal, very real things that happened, and I find that, 10 years later, definitely I'm searching for inspiration outside my personal experience, especially because, I love writing, crying, and leaving country songs, and I got the best guy in the whole world out there having a beer.
Or a cigarette.
I was going to say he's sitting on the front row, but he was sitting on the front row. There he is. He's got more beers. Oh, I think one of those is for me. I told y'all he's the best guy in the world. So, you can't write those crying and leaving songs from real experience when you're happy and in a solid relationship, and unless he pisses you off. I kid. But I think, and again, that's another reason I really like co-writing, because I think it's. And one of the things that I've learned from traveling all over Europe and the United States is that the world and the human experience is so much bigger than everything going on in here in my little world, So I think all that travel and just getting to know people who have different perspectives and different worldviews has opened my eyes to writing more outside of my own personal experience, and again, that's why I like co-writing a lot, because you really get to know somebody on a fundamental level and understand their experience. Then together you try to put something into a song form. Actually, that kind of leads me to something that Chuck and I have been involved in, which is songwriting with veterans. So we're involved specifically with an organization called Soldier Songs and Voices, which pairs up professional songwriters with combat veterans, and do music lessons, songwriting lessons, and retreats, and especially this powerful week-long retreat that happens every year called the Reveille Retreat. We have really been able to dig deep with some of these folks and write some really powerful songs, powerful healing songs. I truly believe in the healing power of music, and it's so all of those songs are very much outside my experience, but having a partner who is a veteran, it's helped me to write those songs with other veterans to help understand his experience better.
But I don't think you could ever imagine to be in a, let's say, Nashville songwriter factory. You
right,
know, you
no.
like co-writing, but not that much.
Not that much. I sure do not like it that much.
All right, the next project, since your studio album came out 2016, and this one's a live album, I assume you're working on it.
Yes.
And would it be anyhow different from what we've seen with the Tennessean and with the other one? And
yeah, I think so. I think this will be my fifth full-length studio album coming up next, and I've decided to hell with, the corporate country and all that stuff, and I'm gonna make everything that I make is gonna sound like me, and that's the way it's gonna be, and so this record I think is really gonna sound like my rock and roll show, and I'm excited about that.
more like you today.
Not that the other records haven't. They've been, but it's like I was saying earlier, I do tend to write in collections of songs, and so my records tend to have kind of a certain feel and a certain theme, or kind of an approach. Like Tennessee Colony was very gospel-y bluegrass. Just Move On was very like 80s, 90s country, the stuff that I love from growing up. And so especially the Redemption 10 live project and this next one, I think, are just going to sound like coming on one of my shows. And that's what I'm really excited about with this next project.
Okay, before we get to the last one, let's play another song, and then we'll find out.
Well, I'll play y'all, and this is going to be on the next record too, and this is one of the songs that we wrote at that Reveille retreat that I was talking about. And this was it sounds almost like it was a Nashville co-write, because I think there were 5 or 6 songwriters on it. But the veteran whose story this is, who was the primary songwriter, her name is Erica Vandenberg, a U.S. Army veteran out of San Antonio. And she and Chuck Hawthorne started writing the song together at the retreat. And then Susan Gibson and I jumped in, and then Butch Hancock jumped in at the end and helped us finish it. So, that was pretty cool. But I think this is a powerful song, and it's called "Through the Door." It tells Erica's story. Finger off the trigger. Plant your boots on the floor. Stick close to the wall. Count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Blinding lightning flash, shake my soul to the core. Thunder raining brash. Count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. I faced my fears in the darkest room. I've rolled away the stone to find an empty tomb. The great unknown, I've been here before. Count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Standing on my front porch, will they know me anymore? I fumble for my keys and count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. I faced my fears in the darkest room. I've rolled away the stone to find an empty tomb. The great unknown, I've been here before. So count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. On the other side, where my mind fights the war, I'm hunting down the demons. I count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. So I face my fears in the darkest room, but I've rolled away the stone to find an empty tomb. The great unknown. Yeah, I've been here before. I count 1, 2, 3, deep breath through the door. Deep breath through the door. Through the door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Erica Vandenberg.
All right, before we get to the last one, the usual, any question from you guys? Go ahead.
What's your advice to a young musician about the Nashville experience? Is that
I say go check it out for yourself, you know, because I know a lot of great songwriters, a lot of great people for whom that's really their scene. That's where they fit. I think for any young songwriter or any old songwriter for that matter, I think the most important thing is to write the songs that you want to write and to be true to the music that you want to make. But I do think every songwriter should run out to Nashville and check it out, because that might be for you and it might not. But you never know till you check it out.
Yeah, even people like Sonny Throckmorton found that out, right?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, true. Okay. Anything else? Go ahead.
I've heard of a lot of musicians going to Nashville to make it in the music world, but you're the only person I've known that's gone to make it in the legal world. Is there a legal scene in Nashville?
Totally.
No, she was hoping
pretty
to
good law
represent the big stars, you know.
Well, when I applied to law school, I just said I was going to apply to a few, and if I got into a good one, I would go, and I did. The best one I got into was Vanderbilt in Nashville, and so that's why I ended up there, and it was a great experience and a really good school, so I was lucky to have that opportunity. Thank you, Bruno. Slippery little sucker. Oh, darling, I love you.
Thank you.
See, I told y'all he was the best. Thank you, Chuck.
He's like a beer truck. It just keeps coming.
Exactly right.
Really cool. Yeah. No, actually, honestly, it was a pretty good question. The reason she went there was she heard about the $700 bills per hour you can actually write for the big stars.
I never made that much.
And, you know, she said,
I wasn't that good at it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, let me get to the last one. And the bad news is Chuck has already known that after that and can think about it for an hour. but probably we just changed the question, so you never know. But what would you ask yourself in an interview that I did not?
You asked some of the best interview questions that I've heard in a long time, so I'm kind of, I'm at a loss to think of anything else to add other than, like, if you want to check out my stuff online. You can find me on Spotify and iTunes, or buy my CDs outside. LibbyKoch.com, KOCH.
Or the t-shirts.
And yeah, we got t-shirts. Make great stocking stuffers. Those last minute gifts. So yeah, I thank you guys for being here and sharing your Sunday with us. And
thank you for being here, I guess.
Yeah, thank you for hosting me. Thanks, RPT. Thanks, Troy.
So basically what she says, yeah, right?
Thanks, guys. Everybody give yourselves a big round of applause.
Basically, what she says is she doesn't want to ask her anything because she doesn't want to waste her own time.
Oh, that's not
So-
true.
Let's play another song for that.
That's not true. Well, I'll play y'all one of those crying and leaving country songs that I swear to God, Chuck, I wrote this song before I met you. It's a good old-fashioned Texas style "Get the Hell Out of My House" song. It's called "You Don't Live Here Anymore." You don't live here anymore. You're not sleeping in this bed. I'm no longer fighting for all the things we left unsaid. You don't live here anymore. Chose to be with her instead. Don't you dare knock on my door. You don't live here anymore. I'm trying not to let you know all the pain I felt inside. I'm dying just to let you go from every tear I've cried. But this time you have let me down to a place I'm finally free to turn tables back around and just take care of me. 'Cause you don't live here anymore. You're not sleeping in this bed. I'm no longer fighting for all the things we left unsaid. You don't live here anymore. Chose to be with her instead. Don't you dare knock on this door. You don't live here anymore. Now I know what you wanna do. It's your cure for everything. And so, if I wanted to, I could end your little fling. But this time I have had enough. You just can't change my mind. Wish you the best of luck with what you're trying to find. But you don't live here anymore. You're not sleeping in this bed. I'm no longer fighting for all the things we left unsaid. You don't live there anymore. Chose to be with her instead. Don't you dare knock on this door. You don't live here anymore. You don't live here anymore. Chose to be with her instead. Don't you dare knock on my door. You don't live here anymore. Don't you dare knock on my door. 'Cause you don't live here anymore. Thank y'all so much.
Libby Koch, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
And you can literally imagine that guy when he hears those words, the only thing that goes through his mind is, run!
I love you.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Bruno. Thanks so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.